Good morning, Kirsten. And Miss Zen should be. So today I want to talk about a little story which encouraged me all the time. The Enlightenment story from Yong Jia Master. So I listed, I put a link above from the Wikipedia. So I will double check from my side the Chinese version to make sure it's authentic. So if you look at the Wikipedia page link, Yong Jia Xuan Jue. So Yong Jia or Master Yong Jia. Yong Jia Master is the disciple, was the disciple of Huineng Master. So Huineng Master was the sixth patriarch of Chan or Zen in China, and 33rd patriarch, if it goes back to Indian, the first patriarch of the was Maha Kasyapa, one of the 10 disciples of Shakyamuni Buddha or Gautama Buddha. So again, we know the famous story about Shakyamuni Buddha, between the Shakyamuni Buddha and Mahakasyapa, was the famous silent sermon. So in all these teachings, there's thousands or hundreds of people gathering. Shakyamuni Buddha was silent all the time, but hold a flower in his hand. Most people don't know what he was going to do. What he was doing. So only Mahakasyapa smiled. There's a little smile on Mahakasyapa face. So we call it silent sermon. And this is Zen. This is Chan, the first transmission of Chan from Shakyamuni Buddha to Mahakasyapa. So we know that the Chan or Zen is kind of silent transmission. So it's beyond words, it's unspeakable. So that's the story of, that's the initiation of Chan. Then the 28th patriarch, Bodhidharma bring this teaching into China around the 4th century to China. And, you know, this lineage carried on to the 6th patriarch, or 33rd patriarch, Huineng. And this is, so the story, Enlightenment story, is between the Yong Jia and Huineng, how Yong Jia Master got enlightened. So if you read, I will just pick up the most essential explanation from Wikipedia. Yong Jia Xuan Jue was a Zen and Tentai Buddhist. So he was he was masters two schools. One is Zen, one is Tentai Buddhist, Tentai school. Actually, if we talk about the 8 schools of the Buddhism in China, all the 8 schools leads to one realization: oneness meditation school, oneness. So it's like every road leads to Rome. Once you're sitting in Rome, you know people coming from which road. That's really the same thing is here. Once you realize the ultimate truth, you know people just coming from different approaches, techniques, but the final destination is same: oneness. Anyway, we may talk about Tentai. So most important Tentai school, the principle is one vehicle. So all the Buddha's teaching is say this whole world is one reality, but manifested in different forms, names, space and time, and all the events in the space-time. That's Tiantai, just a little bit one vehicle that the essential teaching of Tiantai Buddhism. So Yong Jia master was masters of the Zen and Tiantai school during the Tang Dynasty. So if you go to Tang Dynasty, it's a magnificent dynasty. So it's from 618 to 907. Fabulous dynasty. So we know Chinatown, right? We still call ourselves Tang Jie, Tang Dynasty. Okay, so we still call us Tang or Tang people. So in most cities we have Chinatown, but this town English TOWN is not the same as this Tang TANG. Okay, it's different. But Chinatown or Tangrenjie, in Chinese we say Tangrenjie, Tangren, basically coming from this Tang Dynasty, was an imperial dynasty in China from 618 to 907. So preceded by Sui Dynasty. So it's a history, but if you're interested, it's really interesting, and followed by 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms periods. So it's Li family. The emperor's family name was Li. My 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 family name is Li too. So Li, the most popular family name of Chinese people. Almost 100 million people in China named Li, Li Xing. Okay. So Tang Dynasty, I will mention a little bit. If you look at the first female empress, that's in Tang Dynasty, Wu Zetian, Empress Wu Zetian, female emperor, only one, the first one and the last one. Okay. Anyway. Tang Dynasty is the flourishment period of Buddhism in China. So, I will say there's at least 3 stages of Buddhism in China. The first stage is the immigration period and the translation period. There's a huge efforts that between Indian people or Indian masters and Chinese masters. They do kind of, how to say, visit each other. Not too many, but there's a couple of very important journeys between these 2 countries. If you know, one of the most famous is the journey to the west. We call it 西游记, the Xuan Zhang. So one of the 4 translators, Buddhism translators in China, that's translated a lot of Mahayana sutras into Chinese from Sanskrit. So this also happened in Tang Dynasty. So Master Xuanzang he traveled, by foot, by walking from China to India. So it's a determination of carry to bring back the we call it the Jing, the sutras, the Buddha's teaching from India to China. There's a lot of beautiful stories there, and the Xuanzang Master was one of them. So there's a Monkey King. If you know, there's a Monkey King in the story, in the book of Journal to the West. The Monkey King, with with a magical stick that can, fight against any evil or demons. It's the main character in this book, The Journey to the West. And the Journey to the West, the story of Journey to the West was based on Master Xuanzang, who went to India, brought the sutras, the Buddha teaching into China. So just the basic information there. Tang Dynasty, it's beautiful. If you're interested in history, you can go on. Li family. Anyway, the Tang Dynasty was the moment that Buddhism flourishing in China. We have Tiantai, we have Huayan, we have Zen, we have Chan, lots of different styles, schools, teachings uh, flourishing, developed in China. So it's like a seed from India flourish in China. It's with the mixed infusion of with the Taoism and Confucianism. Anyway, we go back to history. So how to say interesting, right? Can you still hear me? Great. So I'm I'm going back to the Yong Jia Xuan Jue. So he has a very good, you see, the chap we call Zheng Dao Ge, the Son of Enlightenment. We're still in the first chapter, first, couple chapter of the page, Yong Jia Xuan Jue. So the Son of the Enlightenment, maybe I will talk about it later. It's so beautiful. Just the realizations of the masters, how how it is, or what is enlightenment, what happened, something like that. 永嘉玄觉, so 温州, so we also in 永嘉禅师. Yongjia is a Yongjia actually is a place, is a small town or village that close to Wenzhou. So Wenzhou is if you know Shanghai, the coastal city, Shanghai, the Eastern Pearl. So Wenzhou is kind of south of Shanghai. You can like a 5 or 6 hours drive in the Zhejiang province. So beautiful province. I've been there. The city went by name of Yongjia at time. So Yongjia, town is in the Wenzhou city, which is bigger. Wenzhou is bigger. He began to study Buddhism early as monk in Tiantai school, and Dharma name Ming Dao. That's his Dharma name, means bright path. He was friends with Xuan Lang. He was go to become the fifth patriarch of Tiantai. So Yongjia master was the fifth patriarch of the Tiantai school. You see, and the seventh, if you calculate after the sixth patriarch of Huineng, it was the seventh patriarch of Zen Buddhism. Anyway, the numbers doesn't matter. We are interested how he got enlightened. He settled at a Zen temple, Wenzhou, where he remained teaching until his death. You see, his longevity was short. He's only 40. His lifespan is only 49 years old. 49. But he was prominent enough that after his death, the Emperor Xuanzong, Tang Xuanzong, so Tang Xuanzong, I will say, the emperor was the seventh emperor of the Tang Dynasty in China, he was the transmission time from the peak of Tang Dynasty to the decline of the Tang Dynasty. Okay, he's reigned 44 years, longest during the Tang Dynasty. Anyway, so this Emperor Xuanzong, sorry, gave him the posthumous name 无相. 无相 so means without phenomena, signless. I talked about this actually. Signless, thoughtless, and how to say 无相, 无念, 无相, 无念, and no abiding, sorry. And no abiding, 3 no's. So he's one of, you see, if it's about choose, all the choose like connects or meets each other. Now this Yong Jia master, the posthumous name is Wu Xiang, signless, or without phenomena. His 2 works that survive today: Song of Enlightenment, very beautiful poem, or the character was so, how to say, beautiful. Language is so beautiful. And another one is the Yong Jia connection. That's his connection. Okay, actually our topic starts from now. Overnight guest. That's the title. Overnight guest. 我们叫一宿觉. Anyway, the story of Yong Jia brief first encounter with Huineng, the 6th patriarch. Okay, if you see the picture of this Huineng, 大建 Huineng. So 大建 is Huineng's posthumous name. So after the master death, the governors or the emperors will name the master, 大建, like great wisdom mirror. Actually, that's the meaning. 大建慧能 is recorded in Transmission of the Lamp. Transmission of the Lamp, 景德传灯录, so is a 30-volume work consisting of putative biographies of the time Buddhist and Zen Buddhist and patriarchs. So it's, maybe if I really have time, I can talk about it still, but I will pick up the most interesting one. The tale tells one of the Huineng students encountered Yong Jia. So you see, Yong Jia we lived in Wenzhou, kind of south Shanghai area or the East China area, while Huineng is close to Guangzhou, South China. If nowadays taken by flight, almost 2 hours flight. So in the 6th century, if you want to go that far, like almost 1,000, at least 1,500 kilometers away, you must have something to do, and you're determined to do it, right? By walk, or most time maybe if you're rich, you ride a horse. Anyway, Yong Jia tried to meet Huineng, which is they're apart like 1,500 kilometers away. Okay, so I'm on the 2nd chapter, so the overnight guest. Through conversation from his, actually it's one of the Huineng students encountering Yong Jia, and they have a conversation that his opinion were very similar to those of great Zen masters of time. So the students of Huineng asked who his teacher, and the Yong Jia's teacher was. Yong Jia replied that he had none. You see, this master has no teacher, but attend his understanding from sutras, especially the Vimakkakirti Sutra, 维摩诘经. Okay, in Chinese we call 维摩诘经. If you Vimakkakirti Natesa is the Buddhist text. Actually, is in the first group of the translation from Sanskrit to Chinese. So which centers around a lay Buddhist meditator who attain a very high degree of enlightenment, considered by some second only to the Buddhas. It was extremely influential in China, especially in the before the Buddha Sutra. Before the Diamond Sutra, Heart Sutra, and Flower Garden Sutra become more popular. This Vermalakirti Sutra was more popular before than all the other Mahayana sutras become popular. Makes sense, actually. So that means maybe before Yong Jia master has access to this Vimalakirti Sutra, and Huinan students then explain that one of the outstanding school to be confirmed. So anyway, then Yong Jia requests that he testify to his enlightenment. The student states that his own personal opinion is meaningless. That means if you, as a highly level awakened master, if you want somebody to testify you are awakened, you need a real higher master, which here means to Huinan. So the students of Huinan actually, just give me, there's a name of the Huinan. Xuance, actually, it's a Xuance Chanshi. So the students of Huinan's name is Xuance. Xuance visit Yong Jia and find Yong Jia with a very high level understanding of Buddha's teaching, and asking him who was his teacher. And Yong Jia said, no teacher, I just studied Weimo Jie Jing. And then he went to the Xuance to testify he was enlightened. And the Xuance said, I have no disability, and you have to visit my teacher or my master, which is Huinan master. Then Yong Jia make a decision to go to Guangzhou area, near Guangzhou area, south of China, to meet him, to qualify him. So that's the basic story. Then anyway, finally, Yong Jia and Huinan met. Very interesting now, okay? Pay a little attention. So if you go a little bit downward, so we go to the overnight guest. Arriving at the table. So you see, Huinan was in Caoxi. Okay, that's the village Huinan master was staying. Arriving at the temple, Yong Jia was around Huinan 3 times and stands staring at him. Actually, Yong Jia was a little bit arrogant. Okay, so in the Chinese version we say he hold a Xizang. So if I give you a little bit picture, okay, you can know what I'm doing. Xizang. Just give me. A second. I'm trying to find that picture and the translation for you. Okay, right here. So I give you this link, Xizang. So it's a symbol that monks hold to to show their state. So I give you this link in the chat. You can check by yourself. Xizang's English name is called, in Chinese, that's Chinese. Xizang is Chinese, so Kakara or Kakara. or tin stick. You can see this people, the monk Yong Jia holds this shijang or kakara, kakahara. It's a staff topped with metal wings, traditionally carried by Buddhist monks, particularly in the East Asian Buddhism tradition. So if you're one person, try to asking some question to your teacher Huineng. So Yongjia is a student, like a disciple, or is the questioner. He tried to ask what is enlightenment, or was he enlightened? So he hold this shizang, kakara in his hand, and walking around Huineng master 3 rounds. That's very arrogant, okay? If you meet master, especially at that time, Huineng is very popular, or how to say, a lot of disciples. They said 500 disciples underneath Huineng. So now you're a visitor, you hold this in the hall of the Huineng, in his temple, very arrogant to hold this kakahara, okay? Then the story goes on. Very arrogant Huineng comments on his lack of formality, you see, to which Yongjia responds, since the question of incessant rebirth is a momentous one and death may come at any time, I have no time wasted on ceremony. That means, actually in Chinese we say,生死事大，无常迅速. So my question is so important. I have no time to do the ceremony to you, to bow to you. Okay, that's his answer. So the question is so important. It's about birth and death, and impermanence is fast. The time is changing all the time. I have no time to bow to you, to waste on ceremony. That's his answer. Very interesting. And I wish you to give me a quick answer to this problem. Okay. Then Huineng was calm and not agitated by his, behavior, the Yongjia's behavior. Huineng suggests the embodied birthlessness in order to overcoming impermanence. Actually, in Chinese, I just want to double check that how to say in Chinese. Actually, this story, the whole story was how we called it in the Platform Sutra. So Platform Sutra, Tanjing, Chapter 7, 六祖坛经. So Platform Sutra is a teaching of the Huineng, Master Huineng, the sixth patriarch. So this whole story was recorded there, and was so I'm checking the 六祖坛经 now. So the Platform Sutra. So 生死事大，无常迅速. What my question is about birth and death, and time is fleeting. Impermanence is everywhere. That's the Yongjia's answer. So Huineng then said, why you don't embody birthlessness to overcome impermanence? So this is the key teaching from Huineng to Yongjia, from the master to the disciple. Yongjia immediately displays understanding of this. You see, but then readies himself to leave. If you are normal people or worldly people, you don't immediately display understanding. Okay, that shows that Yongjia has very high level. We say good merits because he has studied the 维摩诘经, right? The Vimalakirti Sutra already, and he was the seventh patriarch of Tiantai school, right? So he want to, how to say, testify how let the high person of Huinan, a teacher, to qualify him. So he got the answer or understanding very quickly, and he want to leave. Huinan asked if he's not leaving to, so not Huinan asked him to stay one night. That's why we call it one night enlightenment, or enlightenment in one night. 一宿觉. So Yong Jia says there's no such thing as quickly. Very interesting. For motion does not truly exist. You can read this again. Can you really understand what's Yong Jia's answer? So in Chinese we say 本自非动，其有素焉. So there's something not moving. Why you call it fast or slow? If there's something not moving, you cannot call it fast or slow. That's Yong Jia's answer. So repeat. Sometimes the translation is kind of difficult. The translator have to be an enlightened one if you try to translate the enlightenment story. Makes sense? So Yong Jia then says there's no such thing as quickly, for motion does not truly exist. So it has a taste of Zen now. In Chinese we say 禅意, a taste of Zen. Why Yong Jia said that? Just repeat. The Yong Jia asked question, Huinan answered him, and Yong Jia immediately got the answer or the understanding, and he wants to leave. Done. Mission completed. And Huinan asked him to stay one night. And why you leave so fast? And Yong Jia respond, there's nothing moving. Why? There's not, so you cannot call it fast or slow. You see? Okay, let's go on, okay? Huinan asks if he's not leaving too quickly. Yong Jia says there's no such thing as quickly, for motion does not truly exist. Huinan asks why this should be the case, to which he responds that any distinction about quickness or slowness is an artificial construct. So that's really true answer. A enlightened person realizes something never changing, never moving, never coming, never going. So in Buddha's teaching, we call it Tatata Takapa, or your true self, let me say. The universal unified field in now scientific term. There's something never moving, changing, but has infinite potential to move and change and to manifest as form, as energy, as a shape, as a sound, as a light, you name it. So the universal unified field, the unmanifested, the ultimate, was realized by Yong Jia. He was talking about that thing. So everything moves, comes and goes, is impermanent. Everything has a birth, must die someday. No matter is a insect, is a bacteria, or it's a human body, or it's a star. Just different level of scales of time. You see, the true teaching is right here. The Enlightenment story is talking about this. And Huinan then exclaims that Yong Jia, this interlocutor, truly understands the concept of birthlessness. But Yong Jia cleverly asks if a mere concept, another form of artificial distinction, can really have a meaning. Huinan asks, who makes a distinction about whether there is a meaning or not? Yong Jia responds, distinctions are meaningless. And Huinan cries, excellent, excellent. Now just stay here a single night. This is so that Huinan can officially confirm his enlightenment, and thus Yong Jia is known as the overnight guest because he proved his enlightenment to Huinan in one night. He Xiu Jue. Actually, you see, in the old ancient time, if you think about you awakened person or enlightened already, you need a testimony. You need a qualification from a master. That's why Yong Jia traveled almost thousands kilometers to visit Huinan, the south of China, from east China to South China. It's worth of doing it, you see. So, despite this story, the old version of platform found among Donghua manuscript, which dated about Yong Jia is not mentioned as a student of Huinan. You see, actually, he's right. Actually, Yong Jia is not a student. He just came to visit one time to Huinan and to get the qualification. He was graduated. He was enlightened. Just simple as that. You see. Any question, or you got you can you picturize or visualize these two masters talking? So after this, after one night, Yong Jia go back to Yongjia city, wrote the famous the Son of Enlightenment, Yongjia Zheng Dao Ge. Okay, I may talk about later, but this today is kind of like an initiation or introduction of Yongjia Master. Let's see if I can. So, if you go back to the arriving at temple, this chapter, Yongjia talk about impermanence. The Yongjia master talk about impermanence. Actually birth and death, which is the critical suffering for every human being. We will die someday. So he raised the biggest question for every human beings: how to deal with birth and death, how to deal with impermanence. This is the biggest question in the world. Make sense? Because everything, every life story, not mine, yours, Einstein's, uh, you know, Trump's, Putin's, all the story happens in birth and death, but we don't quite know how to figure out the problem of birth and death. And Yong Jia asked this question. You see, that's a master. Only master ask this question: how to face birth and death, how to overcome impermanence. So, what's the Huilen's answer? Embody birthlessness. So, Master Huilen said, you have to realize there is a reality, there is a truth beyond birth and death. Birthlessness. Can you? Can you, my dear friend? While we are lying on the deathbed, the bed of death, most people cannot think why I'm here, why I had this life. They don't know the true meaning as a human being. Most of people, this is my family. This is my life of 80 or 90 or 100 years. I had this story, that happiness, those sadness, you know. These answers does not satisfy a master, because all the stories, all our experience is in time, is impermanent. Only masters ask a question: the truth. What is the truth? Truth never changes over time. Truths are not influenced by birth and death. You see, only master ask this profound, most fundamental question: who am I? How to deal with birth and death? How to overcome impermanence? And Huinan asked, there's a reality you have to realize by yourself, which is beyond birth and death. Now, actually, if there's something beyond space-time, it must be includes now, includes your place, includes this little room. That's the meaning of beyond space-time. You see, every step space-time is included. Meaning your room is included. Your time, no matter this second or this second, is included. That means beyond space-time. So the truth is beyond space-time. So what's that? I will say you are that already. You just don't know. Shoot. If you identify yourself with this body and this mind, you're subject to birth and death. You suffer. Make sense? Everything that is subject to birth and death, that is controlled by the hands of death. We have to, one day, he or she or it will be in suffering. As a human being, we experience sickness, we experience aging, we experience losing the best friend, losing the family members. We lose the best thing we like. We lose the best pet, animal, cats, dogs we like. You see, everything has a lifespan. If you love it so much, one day it disappears, we suffer. And it's we ha- how can you grasp something forever which is impermanent? The very insight, the very first insight of the Buddha's teaching, impermanence. But impermanence is Buddha's initial teaching. His final teaching is there's something beyond space-time, is impermanent. Oh, sorry, is permanent. There's something true, is permanent, everlasting. That's what you are actually, the essence of who you are. That's what Huinan suggests Yong Jia to embody birthlessness. Yong Jia wasn't the student was enlightened one on a journey from east to south to see the master to be recognized as enlightened one, a master. Similar to a credential, yes, embody birthlessness. Thank you, because you just put all the keynotes in one sentence. Really good. So this birthlessness realization cannot be given. I realized my choice of birthlessness, but I cannot give to you. You have to realize by yourself. So we are using the master story, the enlightenment story, to encourage us to really make that decision. I want to be awakened. I want to realize the ultimate truth too. So you can go back to my previous videos, thoughtlessness or three no's. It's like if I give you an analogy, okay? I want to talk to you about silence. So your essence of who you are is silent and still. How can I speak of silence? Every word I talk about silence is a break of silence. I'm not saying this, no speaking silence. If you don't speak, you feel the energy flow in your body. Is that you? It's not still. I feel the energy flow in my body. So we call this 5 skandhas. All the body sensation you can hear, you can see, you can listen or hear, you can smell, you can taste, You can touch the objects of the six senses and organs of the six senses, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the tongue, or the hands or body, and our mind are all empty. So let's say it's in activity. Our body is an activity. Our mind is an activity. So all these activities moves, vibrates, make a sound. So it's not the real self, it's not real us. Because every activity has a start, and must have an end, birth and death. Right? Make sense? So if you again identify any experience, this body, this mind, this taste of food, this listening of the music, this beautiful thing of nature, you living in the field of birth and death, because every experience comes and goes. So there's a pure being, singly experience everything but untouched by every experience. Can you realize that part? The awareness is undefiled, unconditioned, while the awareness can enjoy every contents he or she is experiencing. You can experience every experience, but not defiled by every experience. That's the awakening. You are an ocean in a form of a drop or current, but you as an ocean don't identify yourself as a drop or current. You're the entire ocean, but you express yourself in this form, in this body, in this mind, in this name. My name is Dong. Nice to meet you. You see, it's like two drops of the ocean are talking to each other, and I mean, maybe more than two drops now. All the drops in at this moment realize he is in the entire ocean. That's the beauty of realization. That's the mission completed. Reality beyond birth and death. Truth beyond space-time. We are that already. Yes. If you identify yourself with the body-mind, subject to birth and death, suffering will come. Yes. How can grasp thing forever impermanent? Yeah, it's called impermanent. It's like, but every impermanence happens impermanence, so that impermanence become impermanent. You got it? So that's the one reality. That's the one vehicle from the Tiantai school teaching. It's like I give you back to that energy. You are three-dimensional consciousness mirror. You're four-dimensional, more than four-dimensional conscious mirror. Every experience as image, sound, touch, sensation, food, or a taste, or whatever your experience is, like now more listening and watching, are the reflections in this more than four-dimensional conscious mirror, you. Okay? So if you, from that perspective, It seems that there's me, the conscious mirror, and those that the reflections, the experience. Actually, I will say the ultimate teaching of Buddha is say the reflections and the mirror are one. So every fleeting, transient, floating, fleeting. Um, unconditioned experience is permanent, unconditioned, everlasting truth. There's no confliction. Wow. That's the Buddha's teaching. The enlightenment takes no time and space. You are it already. A shortcut without distance. A gap without time. You are it already. That's the ultimate teaching of Buddha. We call it the sudden enlightenment or complete enlightenment. You don't need to do anything to realize it because you're already it. So funny, so paradoxical. If you look in the worldly teaching, you see any technique like playing piano or ride a bike, ride a car, you need effort. You need some space and time to do. Only this thing, enlightenment, does not take any time, effort, and space. It's right here and now. No effort. Effortless. Less. So crazy. Okay, I think that's all for today. The place you're looking for is the place you're looking from. That's all for today. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Do you like this version of teaching? So I'll give you kind of story to read and also some, explanations or profound teaching from that story. You like it, right?